Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Noche De Poesía. We are talking about this very iconic song, Percal, and recorded in this version by beautiful voice of Alberto Podestá. He had a long career and he sang this song over and over again. So maybe some people might have heard him live singing this song. No, some people might not even like this song so much because it's such a sticky melody that once gets in your head, you can't get out of it, no? But nevertheless, he carries so much emotion into it. I really enjoy listening to it. Alberto Podestá, the singer, we mentioned a little bit, a touch yesterday, but he had multiple names because he was originally born as Alejandro Washington Ale, in the province of San Juan, which is near Mendoza, no? And moved to Buenos Aires when he was 15. And then, but he had such a talent that he in the end, he sang with almost all the most important orchestra, it feels like, no? But first, Caló picked him. Caló, remember, that had a talent in finding out these unknown talents, especially for some reason coming from outside of Buenos Aires. Maybe they are naive, but he knew how to find those diamonds in the rough. No? So when Podestá joined Caló for the first time and recorded few songs, no? Yeah, yesterday we heard Yo Soy el Tango, Dos Fracasos. He recorded it as Juan Carlos Morel. That was his first artist name, no? But then he went to Di Sarri, and Di Sarri said, no, that name doesn't work. No, you're gonna be Alberto Podestá. And then he said, but you know, sir, there are so many Podestás. Podestá was a common name. Then many artists were using that last name. So like, oh, I might not, you know, people might get confused. And he said, no, don't worry, boy, because in the future, in history, you will be the only Podestá that people will remember about. That's what Isali said. And the rest is history, no? So when Podestá came back and rejoined Caló, he used the name, he kept the name, new artist name Alberto Podestá, and he recorded all the consecrated songs with that name. No? As you can see in this year's chronology, that Caló was not a begrudging artist, no orchestra leader. Many of the artists started there, and then went their own way, but then he welcomed them back over and over again. And Podestá was not an exception either. He recorded many times, and some of the songs that we heard yesterday are from different period of his career with Caló. This song in particular was recorded in 1943. Let's remember that even though there are very famous duo, Orchesta, Cantor de Orchesta, Caló had many singers, and some of them recorded very few songs, such as Jorge Ortiz, that we heard 3 of his repertoire yesterday. He only recorded 7 songs, but they are beautiful songs, no? Ya sale el tren, etc., no? And obviously there are more important singers for Caló, like Iriarte, or many people love Verón, no? And Podestá actually didn't record that many songs maybe in the first period, but then he came back and recorded more songs. Nevertheless, all of them sang as a part of the orchestra that Caló created, and they are all beautiful repertoire to dance to and also to listen to. Now, let's go back to the question. So, percal, this song, like, it's a little weird word, no? Like, what is percal? So, percal is a type of fabric, a very thin cotton of less quality that was used to make dresses for working class people, and it often had flower prints. That's what Podestá used to say. And you can see in the picture of these ladies coming out from factories, no, in Buenos Aires. This is from like the 30s. I don't know if exactly these are percal, but I assume something like this, no? Percal. And Felipe also says that it was not just in Argentina. Obviously, all these things came from Europe, no? Everybody migrated from Europe. So in Europe as well, in the end of 19th century or beginning of 20th century, when they say percal, that's what they meant. Now today, if you look at the word in percal in a dictionary, you would say something a little bit different. But this is the context that we are talking about here. In Spanish, there are a lot of expression that uses this word percal, stemming from what it means, no? For example, conocer bien el percal is to be expert on something, because sastrería like the suit makers, no, they know about the fabric really well. So he knows by looking who is wearing what kind of fabric, even when they pretend they can tell, no? And it's such a thin material that they actually used to use from the inner fabric of the suit, actually, or like the pockets, or sometimes they used it to make a mock, like to design a suit or dress for the first fabric, but not to actually wear it because it's so thin. So from there, it says tener un percal, you have a problem. Menudo percal, because it's like it is worthless, no? What a mess. And other expressions such as se te ve el percal, we can see you in a percal, no? Meaning we can see your hidden intention, perhaps because percal is such a thin fabric that you can see through it. No? Anyhow, you might see this expression when you read Spanish, and it comes from stemming from this word. Now, the word percal came from French percal. Oh, it's missing E. I'm sorry. Percal. I don't know. I don't know how to spell it. I mean, pronounce it very well. But it says that the word came from Persian, pargala. No, Abbas should help me here. But it says that it means rag, because again, it's a worthless thing. But then today, actually, this percal is used in high quality sheets. When you look it up, when you Google percal, you find all kinds of like 200 cotton sheets, and it's actually high quality thing. So how did that happen? No, this is very interesting. So why this percal word came from Persian? Because this fabric came actually from Asia through the Silk Road via Persia and then spread out in Europe. It's a very thin cotton. Why is it so thin? It's because in Asia they had silk, which is a very, very thin, fine fabric and can make a very delicate, thin cloth. And when they had cotton, they decided to apply the same technique of making very fine thread to make a very thin fabric, a more delicate, soft in the touch, no? So that's where it originally comes from. That's what they appreciated. Now, when it was imported to Europe, people are like, what is this useless club? Because they were having already cotton fabric, but they were thick. But the thick and hard on the touch was a plus because it means it's durable. No, that's what they wanted. They wanted to last, and it meant like the heavy is good, no, like it's the opposite of today, right? But so they're like, oh, what are we going to do with this? And then they were using it, like I said, in the like pocket or inner fabric of men's suit, or to make a mock, to design real clothes, but not as a real thing. But then humble working class people would use that and to make actual clothes like dresses. No? So that's where it comes from. Now in tango, this word percal you can find actually over and over again. These are the songs. I'm going to show excerpts of many different songs that we've already listened to before. And look at how they are using it. Now, for example, cornetín, it says, his cornet hangs by the cord and his buttonhole medallion of herbs, tari tari, and then the horn ready to coo in case there's percal in an entrance hall. This is the tranvía driver, streetcar driver talking, and he says, oh, I'm ready to make the horn to make a noise in case there's a percal in the entrance hall. What is the percal? In this case, it's a girl dressed in percal, because most of the young girls from the humble neighborhood were dressed in percal. So this was like a nickname, no? to call those young girls. Another song, A mí me llaman Juan Tango, it says, they call me Johnny Tango, let me tell you. And then he was from the poor neighborhood, humble like a bread. And then he says, I bring in the ice craving of Florida water and Percale dress. Florida water was a cheap perfume that was popular in those times. And then again, Percale dress is like the symbol of those girls from the humble neighborhood. You know, like, oh, this is like where I come from the neighborhood where people are using Florida water and then girls wearing Percale dress. Another song, Carnaval, and he says, how much you have progressed, girlfriend. You traded Percale for silk. Disguised as a rich woman, you look marvelous. The thing I saw in Carnival. Now we are getting into this story of a woman coming from a humble neighborhood and changing, going up the ladder. Now, Percale, again, is a poor fabric, cheap fabric, and now she changed, she traded that for silk because she's going up the ladder, no? So this is the song is talking about, no? And in this song, Percale, it means something very similar here. The author, Exposito, says this is actually, this song he wrote as an homage to this song Milonguita, or it was called Estercita. Milonguita, it doesn't mean a small dance party. Milonga, in this case, is a woman, no, who is in the milonga. And Gita, so it's a little milonga. They're talking about, this song is talking about a woman. Let's listen a little bit, no? There is a beautiful version of Troilo recorded with Nelly Vázquez, 1965.
¿Te acordás, milonguita? Vos eras la pebeta más linda y chiclara, la pollera cordona y las trenzas, y en las trenzas un beso de sol, y en aquellas noches de verano que soñaba tu almita mujer, al oír en la esquina el juntango chamullarte bajito de amor. Estercita, hoy te llama el milonguita, flor de lujo y de placer, flor de noche y cabaret, milonguita. Los hombres te han hecho mal y hoy darías toda tu alma por vestirte de percal.
So this is like a prototype, no? We look at this song a little bit when we listen to Santa Milonguita, recorded by D'Arienzo, and this song, that song is also composed by Enrique Delfino, who composed this song, no? Because we are talking about the same character, like an archetype, no? Do you remember Milonguita, this girl? She was, or you were, the prettiest girl of Chiclana, the mini skirt and the braids of a kiss from the sun. In the summer nights, what did your little soul dream about, woman, while listening to a little tango on the corner, whispering you softly about love? So again, this is like this humble girl from the neighborhood had braids, right? And she was simple, and then they're talking about the youth, no, in the summer nights, and talking to people or boyfriend about love. Now, little Esther, today they call you Milonguita. So not only this woman went from the humble neighborhood to the center, but they even changed the name. Nobody calls her little Esther anymore because now she's a Milonguita. Flower of luxury and pleasure, flower of night and cabaret. Milonguita, men have hurt you, and today you would have give up your whole soul to dress in Percal. Why? Because Percal is a symbol of those times that she was still in the neighborhood and still innocent and happy young girl. The song continues, when you get out in the early morning, Mironguita, from the cabaret, your entire soul trembling from the cold says, oh, if I could love. And in between the wine and the last tango, a rich guy takes you to his pad. Oh, how lonely, little Esther, you feel. If you cry, they say it's because of champagne. Now, because she was innocent, but now she's like out of that word of innocence, of true love, although she now is dressed in nice clothes and no longer dressed in Percal, the cheap clothes, but she misses, I wish I can go back to be dressed in Percal. That's what this song is about. And this song, Percal, is also talking about the same thing, but Exposito said, I want to do a modern version of this song, and that's what happened. So, in summary, in the context of tango, Percal is a symbol for the simple girl from Arrabal, from the humble neighborhood, like poor but innocent. No? By the way, I'm not sure if anybody have seen the movie Our Last Tango, but Martia Nieves, this great dancer, and who was also from this humble neighborhood, she described her childhood saying that, well, like we loved to go out dancing and then we would dress up, but they only had one clothes. So she said, like, what we would do is the night that we would go out dancing, we would wash and like drying in the sun the clothes, like hand wash, right? Because of course there's no washing machine or dryer. They would wash and they would clean themselves so that, you know, they would get dressed up to go to a milonga. And it was a big deal, but they only had one clothes. And if you look at the picture of the arrabal, of this humble neighborhood, you see all these clothes hanging and drying all the time. I assume that they didn't have that many change of clothes, so they would be always washing, no, and drying things. But also it's like a picture, no, of that when you hear the word arrabal, like you also see this like line of clothing drying too. Anyhow, this genius poet, Exposito, it's one of the youngest and most modern poets that we've been looking at. No? We always look at this same photo of him dressed up. So I thought like I would find another older version of himself right here. He was born and grew up and actually lived all his life in Zárate. Zárate is a little suburban, I would say. Not too far. I wouldn't say it's a countryside, but it's more like a suburban city outside of Buenos Aires. But since he partied all the time, he would not go back home. He said he would stay in La Pensión Alegría, the happiness boarding house where a lot of the musicians were living. He would hang out there. And many of his creations were made there as well. Him and his brother Virgilio, together they created many great songs like Falol, Naranjo en Flor, that we all love. Percal is as one of the many series of tangos that were created through this creative partnership. I call it duo sometimes, no? Of Domingo Federico and Homero Exposito. So Federico Exposito created so many hits. They are more or less the same age, no? And with this connection through the Pensión Alegría and also the Caló Orchestra, they were close and they made many songs. And as you can see, many important orchestra, multiple orchestra recorded it. That is another good sign, no, of being a big hit, because there were only two major record labels at that time. Each one would normally allow to record it once. So that's why most of the time, there are only 2 versions at most. But some songs are only recorded once by major orchestra because the other one, nobody else cared. And many of the times, those are in-house productions. No, yesterday we listened to this Yo Soy el Tango. This is the song that I said that Podestá recorded as Juan Carlos Morel, no? Before he became the Podestá. Al compás del corazón. Let's listen to Tristezas de la calle Corrientes. This one is by Caló en Verón.
Calle como valles de moneda por el pal, río sin desvío donde sufre la ciudad. Qué triste palidez tienen tus luces, tus letreros sueñan cruces, tus afiches, carcajadas de cartón, risa que precisa la confianza del alcohol. Santos hechos, canto para vendernos un amor, mercado de las tristes alegrías, cambarache de caricia, donde cuelgan la ilusión. Triste.
En Percal, many songs many of their creation, Troy recorded it. Do you notice? He really liked all these new type of tangos. No, for example, Percal. Song, but I really highly recommend you to listen side by side to hear the difference. No, the other great masterpiece is Julio Verne.
Callejón lejano, lejano, íbamos perdidos de la mano bajo un cielo de verano, soñando en vano un parón. Portón igual pensando y los dos perdidos de la mano bajo un cielo de verano que partió. Déjame que yo.
You recorded by beautiful voice of Moran. No? Exposito was not the type of poet that would use lunfardo. He would use more like a metaphor, and sometimes you read it and like, what does it mean? Like you need to think twice, no? Or to use imagination. He doesn't say things like straightforward, but then he uses metaphor in a way that carries the message like very, very deep, no? Like in the case of Naranjo en Flor. When you look at this chart, what do you notice? No, this collaboration was very concentrated in a few years, and then it ended in 1943. What happened in 1943? If you have been listening to this program for a long time, you know that the censorship started. No? Many of the creativity got suppressed, and even though Exposito didn't use any lunfardo, he also this song was also a subject to the censorship, and he went there and was like, what is wrong with this song, because it doesn't talk about anything bad, but they said that right after they recorded it, they flagged this song so they couldn't be played in the radios, and which was a major way to promote and for people to listen, so that hurt the progress of this song a lot, they said, until 1949 when the censorship was lifted, when Perón came into power, that this song was not recorded because inspector said that, like, if you change the lyric, we will lift you the ban. Then Exposito tried to write something that to please the inspector, which he thought it was total garbage. And then the inspector said, "Oh, that sounds fantastic," because he took out all this subtle meaning and metaphors and just straightforward, oh, this girl in pink dress and something like that. And he's like, no. And the inspector said, "Oh, if you do this, like, I will give you a pass." And then Exposito said, "You know what, like, bullshit, no, I'm not doing this shit. Just like, you can ban all my song all you want, but I'm not changing my lyrics." And then he left. Now, the Domingo Federico, who is the composer of this song and many other songs that we just listened to, he's actually a quite important character in tango history, but maybe many of us might not know, because he didn't have the most important orchestra that we dance to, no? He was born in 1916, so he was 2 years older than Exposito. He was born in Palermo, no, in Buenos Aires. However, soon after, he grew up far, 500 miles away from Buenos Aires, Carmen de Patagones. That is like even past Bahia Blanca, no? Like really, really, really south, far away for his father's work. However, he learned bandoneon and also violin thanks to his father, who also played music. He came back when he was in high school to Buenos Aires, and while he was studying in medical school, he also signed up, enrolled in the school that Pedro Mafia and Sebastián Piana started to study music seriously. Remember, Pedro Mafia is this genius bandoneon player who played in the orchestra of De Caro along with Lawrence, no? And he was also a very important teacher as well. And later, Domingo Federico also not only became a musician, but he also became an important bandoneon teacher as well. In Sebastián Piana, we remember that he's the one who created sort of the milonga genre that we dance to. Yeah? Now, while he was in medical school, he got an idea of this song because he was already working as a musician. And when he was dissecting a frog, live frog, and he saw the heartbeat, boom, 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 he got an idea for a melody. And so he wrote the song. Can you hear the heart beating with the bandoneon and the bass? Boom, 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 boom. Listen again. It's called Al Compás del Corazón, to the beat of the heart. And this is another song that became a big hit. It was actually a first recording by Caló Verón. And with this, they went into stardom because this song became such a big hit. Federico, after he went to school, and then he found a way to Miguel Caló's orchestra. He didn't stay there for a long time because in 1943, he formed his own orchestra. You can see his orchestra formation right here in this picture on the right, and he's right in the middle. And maybe in US, we don't hear his music very often, but in Europe now, Domingo Federico's orchestra is quite popular, and you would hear that in a milonga. I like this particularly one song that he recorded. heartbeat. Every time I hear those beats, I now think of all the frog heart, right? This song is called Yo, I. But nevertheless, maybe you want to listen, check it out, Domingo Federico's music. It's in the line of Caló's music, lovely melody with a clear beat, danceable or not danceable. It's really up to your taste. But he had a successful career nevertheless and recorded many songs. But he moved to Rosario in the 50s because God knows why. And he kept recording, he did tour, he even reunited with Caló later and recorded some songs as the All-Star Orchestra, Orquesta de las Estrellas. Rosario is this important big city in northwest, 200 miles northwest from Buenos Aires. But he stayed there for the rest of his life, actually. Now, I have a little anecdote when this song Percal was debuted. Jorge Nelson, this presenter right here, he was a presenter for Di Sarli at some point, so that's why you can see Di Sarli and Tororo right here on stage. When he was presenting this song, he introduced the creator, the poet of this song, Homer Exposito, is right here. And in this cabaret, Discepolo was actually present with his girlfriend, Tania. And if you can see, the Discepolo is from a different generation, like 20 years older than Exposito, and already a big, big, big name at that time. And Exposito admired him very much. So he went to Discepolo's table to introduce himself, and only Tania was there, and he said, oh, that's so funny because Discepolo just went to look for you because she was anxious to meet you. Funny, no? But then anyhow, Discepolo came back and then they got introduced, and Discepolo congratulated him. Oh, you are very talented poet, and I like your work. However, this song, Percal, it's mine. You couldn't have written it. And especially he liked this line. It says, tal vez entremos mal. Maybe we don't understand each other well, no? You will see that later when we analyze the lyrics, but pay attention to that. But nevertheless, Discepolo had admiration for Exposito and Exposito for him as well. This song actually was debuted in the Cabaret Singapore. Cabaret Singapore was somewhere around here. Oh, here you can see Cabaret Singapore. This is Corrientes Avenue, and the yellow line is the 9 de Julio, big avenue, and Obelisco's right here, and Singapore was right here. And you can see all these green spots, they are all cabarets, and cabarets and theaters where the tango was happening, nightlife was happening. And Singapore was a salon that Miguel Caló actually owned and managed, and he played there as well. And while we don't have the picture of inside of Singapore, you can see what other cabaret look like. And this one is from Tabarís. Troilo used to hang out there a lot and play there sometimes as well in 1945. So you can see the stage with the orchestra in the back. And there are another band upstairs, because normally they would have tango band and then also jazz band, right? As you can see in this afiche, the promotion as well, flyers as well. And then you can see all these people on the table. So they're not dancing, yeah? There are some places that has dance table, like right here, they have this small dance floor. Sometimes the dance floor is a little bigger. But cabaret made money with the food and the drink. So this is where like people are listening to music and then getting entertained. And you can see some champagne bottles here and there, and people having dinner, etc., etc. Oh, right. So when you look at this picture, you can see not so far away, maybe like 6 blocks away, is the Pensión La Alegría, the happiness boarding house where many of the members of Caló's orchestra lived. And who are those people? Galvan, who was also an arranger for Caló at some point. Francini Pontier, who was Francini was the violinist, Pontier was the bandoneonist, and they provided also many songs too, and all the other talents. And while Exposito, he didn't live there, but since his house was so far away and he didn't bother to go back there, so he hung out in this house a lot. Another talented pianist, Hector Stamponi, also from Zárate. Oh, by the way, Francini and Pontier are also from Zárate area. So they had connection there as well. Now let's, knowing all of that information, now let's go into the lyrics. Yeah? Percal, ¿te acuerdas del Percal? Remember the Percal. Now, so here, he's not just talking about the fabric, obviously, right? So he's talking to this woman. Remember the time that you were wearing Percal. Remember how you were when you were wearing these dresses made of cheap fabric. You were barely 15. Tenías 15 abriles, like you had 15 Aprils, meaning you were 15 years old, no? Anhelos de sufrir y amar, longings of suffering and loving, of going downtown to succeed and forget the Percal, de ir al centro, triunfal y olvidar el Percal. So she was young and she was dreaming and she was ambitious, no? To live this life of Percal and what it stood for, like being poor. Where is the center? No, this is simplifying too much, but just so you get some idea. Again, north is up, no? This north area is like a really rich people area, and centro is here. You can see this straight line in the map right here. That's the Corrientes Avenue. It was like the Broadway of Buenos Aires where all the cabarets were, and cafes also. And here are like Boca, you know, Barracas, Nueva Pompeya. This is like when you say Arrabal, this is the area that I think of, no? And then also even beyond Riachuelo River, right? And then other areas are like the barrios, like, which is a little bit more tame, no? Middle class, I don't know. Middle class means really, really white things, but where regular people lived in this big area. But when they said ir al centro, it means this area around Corrientes Avenue where all the nightlife was happening. And what was happening there, many young girls would go there, and these arts sort of describes it, no? It's not obviously, it's not like they went and sketched there, but what was going on in there. Maybe I should send you this picture so you can study very well. You can see all these neon signs, and it says Boate. Boate is like one of those very night dark cabarets where all these ladies are, and when tango was happening. This is another reason why there are not so many tango singers that are women, again, because tango has this really bright side and it has the dark side because it was played a lot in this nightlife. And it's not necessarily a very healthy, clean environment for young ladies. And there were ladies who worked there as a dancer to entertain the guys, and God knows what else they got involved in. This nightlife is the opposite of the Percal. They were, in the songs, they were saying like the seda, no, the silk, or maybe sometimes fur, no, in the opposite, like satin dress, no. that is the life. And then all these this lady is like barely dressed, this lady is naked, and then all the guys are looking at them like with lust, no? And curiosity. So when people talk about Corrientes Avenue or in the center, centro in Tango, these are the night world that there we were talking about, and all these women having with ambition or not knowing any better, no, and getting into that and maybe not being able to come back from it. And there are so many tangos that talk about this, no? Like Moneda de Cobre, for example, another song that we have looked at before. Now, Percal, Camino del Percal. Te fuiste de tu casa, you left your house. Tal vez nos enteramos mal. This is the sentence that Discepolo was really really jealous about. No, maybe we heard wrong, or we understand well, no? Solo sé que al final te olvidaste el percal. I only know that at the end you forgot the percal. I don't know what has happened, no? Like they knew each other when she was this innocent girl in the humble neighborhood, and I heard that you left, and then I don't know what happened. But the only thing I know is now how you are, that you forgot about this, your humble origin, and you are somebody else now. Now, la juventud se fue. What happened? The youth is gone. Tu casa ya no está. Your home isn't there. I don't know what happened to her house. En el ayer, tirados, se han quedado acobardados tu percal y mi pasado. And in the past, discarded, they've remained covering your percal and my past. So he was probably with her, no? My past and your percal, your innocent old self as a humble girl, they have remained discarded. They are like tirado, they are thrown away, no? In the past. No longer that exist because the youth is gone. All the innocence is gone. Again, he repeats, la juventud se fue, the youth is gone. Yo ya no espero más. I no longer wait. What does that mean? He waited for her. She left, and then he couldn't figure out what happened to her, but he waited for her. But no longer, but that's gone. Mejor dejar perdidos los anhelos que no han sido y el vestido de percal. Better or best to let be lost the longings that have not been and the percal dress. Like forget about the past, no? Because they were probably boyfriends and girlfriends and innocently in love, but then she got tempted and had an ambition and she left. He waited, but then he says, you know what, like that's it. Percal, tristezas del percal. Remember the song Milonguita, that she wished if she can go back dressed in percal, to be innocent again, to be back in the arms maybe of this honest, good boyfriend that she had from that arrabal, no? From the humble neighborhood, but no longer. The only thing that is left is the sadness of this girl, Percal, no? That's the story. Now knowing all this, let's listen to the song again.
¿Te acuerdas del Percal? Tenías 15 abriles, anhelos de sufrir y amar, de ir al centro triunfal y olvidar el Percal. Percal, camino del Percal. Te fuiste de tu casa, tal vez nos enteramos mal, solo sé que al final olvidaste el Percal. La juventud se fue, tu casa ya no está, y en el ayer tirado se han quedado acobardados tu Percal y mi pasado. La juventud se fue, yo ya no espero más. Mejor dejar perdidos los anhelos que no han sido y el vestido de Percal. Tristeza del
Now, I didn't explain actually so much about them, but I hope, being the regular, that you might know this already. Let's see. I'm gonna launch the poll. You can move it to the side, no? Oh, I don't have the number here. Okay, the number is from the left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, actually 7, but actually 7% is not, obviously, no? Who was the violin player? Here, there you can see pianists, bandoneonists, but there's only one person who was a violin player. Maybe it's a little difficult, no? We'll see. And I hope I've used this photo before. I love this photo because it's all the stars, and it's great that they're sharing, you know, coffee together, no? And they didn't necessarily all play together, but they were in the scene, all of them. Ooh, oh, this is interesting. It's a good question, it seems, because it's quite divided. All right. Let's wait for another 5. Try your luck. This is anonymous. 3, 2, 1. Let's see. You know, 3 of you got it right. Thank you for trying. I really appreciate. Oh well, that was a number right there. Oh, you go. So the answer was number 2. 3 of you got it right. Congratulations. Tap on your shoulder. His name is Enrique Francini. It's one of my favorite violin player in the tango world. He's really awesome. And he was one of the guys from Zárate and played in Caló's orchestra, no? And his buddy was Armando Pontier, who was a bandoneon player. They both played in Caló's orchestra. Another person who played for Caló at some point was Héctor Stamponi. He was a pianist and also from the same area. other people who are hanging out here, and Maderna, obviously Maderna, genius pianist. He was called the Chopin of tango. No, another pianist right here is Pugliese. You can tell maybe with the glasses. And then young Piazzolla, who was a bandoneon player. And another pianist right here is Alfredo de Angelis. Yeah, right here, hanging out together. There we go. Let's see. The second question is, there are pictures of different singers here. Which singer did not sing for Caló? Oh, sorry, launch polling. There we go. There are 4 singers here. 3 of them sang at some point in their career for Caló, but 1 person didn't. Although Caló collaborated with many different artists because he had really long, successful commercial career. Okay, this one seemed to have a clear winner. Good job, you guys. Let's wait for another 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. Yeah, okay. Oh, other tallies are going up. Okay, and following share result. There we go. So most people chose number 3. Very good. Who's that one? Angel Vargas, who sang with D'Agostino, no? And the others, can you name them? Let's see. Boom. Number 1. Oh, how do I make this smaller? Okay. Number 1 is Jorge Ortiz. Number 2, Podestá. And then Vargas, who didn't sing with Caló. And then Raúl Verón. Yeah. Very good, very good. Let's see the last question. Okay. It's not a really good definition, but here you can see many different artists, and your job is to find Miguel Caló. Let's see. Quiz number 3, launch polling. There we go. Take your time. There is a pen written here. It says that this picture is from 1956. Some kind of celebration, it seems. Let's see. Keep going, keep going. Some face you can recognize, yes? No, some of them pretty easy, no? Let's see. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. All right, most people thought number 5 was Miguel Caló. Let's see. Very good. Actually, this one is Filpo. But anyhow, Caló, correct. Number 5 was Miguel Caló. And some others you can recognize, maybe Lawrence, the master bandoneon player, Troilo, which you call Troilo, Canalo, quite old there. Remember, he was born in like 83 or something. He's from a different generation, yes? This is actually Filippo. And then D'Arienzo right here. It's really cool, yeah? Thank you so much for coming. I hope you enjoy. That's it for today. And please feel free to stay if you want, if you have any questions. I'll do my best to answer your questions, and I hope you can join us next week with Troilo and Marino, the second round. There are so many songs, beautiful songs to listen to.